and technically, and so he wants them spending 15 minutes a day, every day, hitting those balls. So, and that's something, again, for you guys, you can put that responsibility on the players. You know, go and spend 15 minutes every day working on this particular aspect of your game, whatever it is that you feel like you need to be working at. So, volleys, this is another thing that, going back to working with the younger kids and for you guys, but even with these guys, it's interesting because one of my I don't know if I should say pet peeves or not, but one of the things that I tend to recognize, and I was just mentioning this to one of the guys that's here playing the tournament recently, is that at this level of the game, at the Futures level, and even into the Challenger level, and to some degree even to the Tour level nowadays, the game has become a lot more one-dimensional. Guys just don't come forward as much as they used to. And at this level especially, if you allow the other guys to just be grinders, there's a lot of very good grinders at this level. But at the same time, if you're willing or capable of putting more pressure on guys by coming forward, I think that you can get out of this level a lot faster, which is what everybody's objective is, to come here. As nice as Calabasas is, every player that plays this tournament never wants to come back to Calabasas.
I know, I have that trouble when they collect their paycheck. I say, well, hope to see you next year, but then again, maybe I don't.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I hope not to see you next year. So, I mean, that is the goal. The goal for guys in Futures is to hopefully, you know, if you can see a place once and never have to go back, you're doing a really good job. If you can see a place twice and you never have to go back, you're doing a pretty dang good job. If you come back and play in Calabasas 3 or 4 or 5 times in a row, you might want to be applying for a job here at the club, or maybe somewhere else. So it just depends, you know. It just depends. But we go to, and again, going back to what you guys are doing and what we're doing at our level, because you look at a guy like Francis Tiofu, who won Bakersfield last week. You know, a 17-year-old kid that's playing at a very high level. Hopefully Francis will be one of those guys that won't have to see Bakersfield again, because he's making progress at that level. But he needs a lot of work on his volley. And one of the things that I think we make a mistake at as coaches is that we tend to want to talk to our players about attacking more, but we don't do the development at the net first. It's kind of a backwards relationship to how you have to develop a player to be able to feel comfortable, because if we get them to the point where we're saying, oh, you've got to attack more, and then they start coming in, and every time they get to the net they can't execute, then they start saying, well, why should I come to the net when I can't ever win a point when I get to the net? So we have to get the kids, and again, this goes back to the question about slice backhands and how, at what point you start with little kids. I'm a big believer personally, having done it with my own after-school program and a small academy. I'm a big believer in working at an early age on trying to develop proper technique in all the areas of the game. So if it means that you've got a younger kid and all you can do is stand and toss him a ball, but make him have to just try and keep the racket head up as much as you can and just work on, because we know at 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, there's not much of an advantage to coming in. It's probably a disadvantage. I always say that, you know, in the 10s and the 12s, all the wrong things win, which is always a funny thing, because, you know, for parents and the kids and sometimes coaches, depending on their situation, you know, everyone gets so excited because their kids are kicking butt in the 10s or the 12s. But, you know, you go and you watch the kids play, and mechanically or technically they're not very good. They're playing all the wrong things, but they're winning at that level because all the wrong things win. You come to the net at that age and you lose. You just bunt the ball into play and you win. So it's a matter of trying to have a vision for down the road and for the future. So I think it's important that you take those younger kids and you actually work on their technique, so that when you get to the point where it becomes age appropriate to have them start attacking a little bit more, they've already developed those skills. It goes back to the slice backhand also is a natural transition play to get to the net. So we start looking at those things. All right, hey fellas, will you, Deaton, I'm going to have you, Walker, Deaton's going to feed you a ball just slightly to the offside.